Great. So Excel has become just more and more of a programming tool in many ways, even without VBA. You know, this kind of environment where you can write extra programs for Excel to use and other Office programs. You can actually do a lot of programming in the worksheet itself, and really programming is quite easy in VBA. I mean, a very simple program. We've all done a very simple program like this. That is actually, you're a programmer, you know. But we know there's more complex things to do. You can do if statements, blah 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 blah. But one thing that's happened just recently in the last couple of years is that Excel has started to incorporate features that are familiar to other programming languages, such as Python and Lisp before it. So Lisp is a very old programming language dating from about the 1950s, and it's actually the origin of a lot of I don't know, techniques and stuff that are used in modern programming languages. So I've just got a little bit of a use case here, and we want to turn this address here into a single line. We might want some functional way of doing that. So what we might do is concatenate. Concatenate. So using the old version of this, we might have just put those together, but it just using the new version of this, we would we might do that, but it's not great, is it? Because what's happened is it's just shoved them all together. We wanted space and a comma in all of these. So what we might do instead is we might do comma. Oh, put all of these in space, comma. That one, comma, space, close inverted commas, and didn't quite finish that off. And there we go. We've got that on a single line, but it's still a little bit laborious. And and if this is a longer address, it's not that easy to extend it. So there's a number of features that I would like to, and concepts. So you're gonna have to bear with me. This will go on a little while. And so the first of these is something called the LAMBDA. So diving right into into something fairly hardcore here. So this has been in Excel for the web, I think 365 for a couple of years now. So what we would do is a lambda is a function. It's a way of kind of writing something that's a little bit complex, but it is kind of used on the spot and then kind of thrown away. It's like a cheap, a computational or a cheap way of creating a function. So we start first of all. We should have some tooltips coming up, but we haven't in this case for some reason. But never mind. X. So we declare the name of a variable. I'll just call it X in this instance, and then what I will do is I'll use the other method of concatenation, and then I'll do X using the ampersand, and then I'll put that in there and a space and that. Okay, and then I close that. Now I've got my function declared there, and then I apply it to that cell. Okay, no we don't. And that's because I've called lambda. I've not included the sheep kind of reference. LAMBDA. Right, there we go. Santa Claus. Perfect. Right. So what that's done is it's just added a concatenation there. Now we could have done that very easily by just doing B3, but you've got to bear with me because we build this into something a little bit more structured. So we could just drag that down to do all that. So why haven't I just done this? And blah 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 blah, because it's exactly the same. But it isn't. Right. So the next thing we need to do is what we're going to do. We're going to use another new function. It's the map function. So again, it's got its origins in Lisp. Python programmers may be familiar with it. And so what we will do is we will take this. I'm just going to take that. I'm going to copy it, and I'm going to map the array. Take that as an array. Okay, and then I'm going to apply it. actually apply is the wrong word. Actually, I'm wondering if apply exists as a function. Apply is another very funky function from Python and Lisp, and then we actually now have a spilled array, okay, and we're just going to concatenate that because we can do that with arrays. Concat. Okay. Oops. Happy days. Right. Okay. Well, it's good, isn't it? But it's still not fantastic, is it? We've got something stuck on the end there, which is a little bit of a pain. So, and it takes a little bit more pain to actually deal with that again. Again, you could do it in a. I'm going to do it in a fairly structured way to give us a little bit more flexibility later on. For example, if you knew this was always 3 long, then it'd be quite simple. You could just trim off the last 2 letters here, but the length of this whole string is variable, so that's actually a problem. So even doing that is starting to become less trivial than it was before. So what we shall do at this point, I'll just kind of start again here. I'm going to copy that to my clipboard again. Right, copy. Right, there we go. I'll start over here, and I'm going to introduce something called let. So now doing this within the cell, I can actually declare a variable. So you've seen me declare the variable x in that lambda function before. I'm going to declare another variable here. But the difference between let and lambda in this instance is I can kind of reuse this variable within the cell again. So if you've done fairly structured spreadsheets, you probably found there's some point where you've had to kind of test something with an if statement, and then you've had to re-evaluate the exact same thing again. So you've written a very, very long statement once to evaluate a case, whether it's true or false, and then you've written it again, you've duplicated it to go on and actually come up with a value for the cell or something like that. So the let function is super helpful in this instance. Right, okay, so what I will do in this instance is I will give y the value of what I've just evaluated before, this basically this above here, what I've evaluated here, and I hope you're still with me, I will then use that. I think I need to close out with another bracket, I think, and left. I'm probably going to come unstuck here, so yeah, I have come unstuck. This is where you, interestingly, I talked about Lisp before, L-I-S-P, and people have often joked that Lisp actually stands for lost in senseless parenthesis, and I think I'm actually lost in senseless parenthesis right now, so just bear with me a little bit longer whilst I yeah, I've spotted it. Okay, it's fine. So what I will do is, I think I've closed my parenthesis. Okay, left. So what I'm going to do here is, first of all, I want to take the left-hand part of that string with 2 characters removed from the right-hand end, but I need to, this is why I've evaluated this string and assigned it to the variable y, because I'm going to use it here, but then I'm also going to use it in the length function, string length function, y. Okay, and then I'm just going to chop two characters off the end of that. This, fingers crossed, should work. Okay, left, close the let. Hey, great. Okay, so there we go. Now that's quite good. So now we've trimmed the end of this off. So we've got a string we can use now. We've constructed it from there. It's gone straight to there. And what else? What other useful things can we do? We could. I guess at this point, we'd want some harder test cases. So I've got one down here. I've just googled very long address from the web. So apologies for non-co life insurances, but I'm just going to use your address here as my test case. And this is all well and good, isn't it? But what happens if I want to do that? That's fine. It still works, and I could argue that argue that, whoops, maybe you can still see this. In fact, I know what I'll do. Let me just widen that out, and then wrap text. Where's the wrap? No, don't want that. That's the one, isn't it? Right, okay, let's zoom back in. There we go, that's a bit better, isn't it? Right. So it works. It's quite easy to quickly extend that. Now, if you could imagine, using say this method here, the CONCAT method, and having to put in each of these. Now you can see how this way of iterating, it's like doing a loop in the cell, really works. It's very helpful. But let's go one further, so what happens if, I'll tell you what, I'll just copy that up again, and what I'm going to do is just say, well, what if that's that length? There are ways of just variably changing the size of this array, but I just want something a bit more quick and dirty here. So what I've got is a load of trailing commas. Now I definitely don't want that, and that's because it's evaluated all of these. So it's quite easy to change the the function again, and what I can do in this case is this lambda, this x value here. What I can do is just do a little bit of evaluation of that prior to adding adding this bit of extra string. So that's what I'm going to do. So if I do if is text x, comma. So you can still structure these lambdas as if you were structuring anything like an if statement. So if this evaluates to true, then just do the original thing, the concatenation comma space on that. But if it doesn't evaluate to text, then if it isn't text, if it's false, I need to add an extra. Okay, one there, right, and there we go. So that's quite good. It's taking a kind of a fixed length array that may or may not have values, and then just trimming it all down and giving us a single row address, all on one line, using LAMBDA, the anonymous function, map an array onto that anonymous function, concatenating it all together using one of the native Excel functions, assigning it to the variable y, then punting it over to this other built-in Excel function, and doing some more shenanigans on it until we've got this here. So again, we can just quite happily, oops, that there. Could even be longer if we want. It'd still give us. Hang on, I just want to property paint that. There we go. Right. All good. Right. Okay. If you stayed with me this long, then well done.